Welcome to the Elite Real Estate Agents of SEQ podcast, where I sit down with some of the most successful and respected real estate agents working right here in one of Australia's most beautiful and sought-after regions, Southeast Queensland. This podcast gives you a genuine, behind-the-scenes look at who these agents are as people, what makes them stand out in the industry, and most importantly, can help you decide if they're the right fit to guide your property journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. You might just be listening to the perfect person to sell your property. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Elite Real Estate Agents of Southeast Queensland podcast. Now today I'm sitting down to chat with Mark Saveall from McGrath Southport office. Now, with just over a decade of experience and more than 800 successful sales under his belt, Mark Saveall is a name that commands respect in the property scene around the Chirn Park and Labrador area of the Gold Coast. Known for his straight-talking style, relentless drive, and no-nonsense approach, Mark brings a rare mix of professionalism and authenticity that cuts through the noise. Whether he's negotiating a premium price or guiding a first home buyer, Mark's focus never wavers, delivering real results with zero fluff. Born and bred in Sydney, having moved to the Gold Coast in 2002, his deep local knowledge is matched only by his commitment to get the job done right. Let's find out what shaped his career, the secrets to long-term success in a competitive market, and what it really takes to build trust and reputation in today's real estate market. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Adam. Thank you for that introduction. Very nice.
Went okay, didn't it?
Yeah, sounded pretty
good. Got everything right? Fantastic.
Yep.
All right, look, I always like to start by finding out just a little bit about you and where you've come from. So you grew up in Sydney?
Yeah, born and bred on the northern beaches of Sydney.
Okay.
A little place called North Curl.
Okay. Right near the beach there?
Mate, on the beach. I was very lucky. It was a very good childhood, I must admit.
Yep.
But having said that, I would never go back to Sydney. I think the Gold Coast is the best place in the world.
Yep.
And I tell all my friends that all the time. So, great upbringing, but this is the place where I want to be.
Sure. What made you make the move from Sydney?
Well, it was never designed to be a Gold Coast move. I was actually, when I had enough of Sydney in 2002 and the rat race, I had bought a $500 Ford Falcon and I was on my way to the Sunshine Coast.
Right.
Don't ask me why, I just had it in my head.
Okay, that's where you wanted to go?
Correct.
Yep.
And the car broke down in the rain and I rang up a friend of mine, Cindy Stuck, who was living in Gibraltar Drive in the Isle of Capri. And I said, Cindy, do you mind if I stay for a couple of days while I work out what's wrong with the car? And I got a phone call the following day from someone who had heard I was up here 'cause I was running pubs at the time.
Okay.
And I got a job working at the Shearer's Arms at Ormeau the next day.
Okay.
And I never made it to the Sunshine Coast.
Wow, sounds like fate.
Well, it was that whole sliding door moment, right?
Yep.
If the car hadn't have broken down, I would never have ended up where I ended up.
Driven straight through.
Correct. So that's why I'm here.
Right, and never have seen the wonderful Shearer's Arms Hotel that is still there today.
It is still there, yes, and still very big on food, but the pub game is a young man's game, and that's definitely not my go anymore.
Right, so you're not young anymore? Is that what you're
mate.
telling me?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Passed that bridge last year.
I wouldn't have even thought Ormeau was there at that time. It must have been a pretty young pub at the...
No, it was thriving.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what then? You're in the pub game, you're doing that. What drew you to real estate? How did that happen? Talk me through that.
Okay. So I was still in the house with Cindy, and our toaster broke down. And previous to my time in the pub game, I was a franchise owner for Harvey Norman in the Harvey Norman franchise structure.
Right.
So I thought I knew everything about toasters and electrical. So when the toaster broke down, I said, Cindy, I'll go and buy a new one from Harvey's. As I walked into Harvey Norman at Bundle, Jerry Harvey walked out, and Jerry went, Mark. And hey, Jerry, how you going? Hadn't seen him for, 17 years. The guy's got a freakishly good memory. It's amazing.
That is.
And he said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm still in the pub game. He says, you want to come back into Harvey's? And I got a job working at Harvey Norman. There's a little clearance centre at the end of the car park there at Harvey Norman Bundle. Yep. And Steve Cavalier, the franchise owner, was looking for someone to run it. I ended up there for 10 years. So
Yep.
there you go. That's how it ended
Another
up.
sliding door.
Another sliding door moment.
That was
yes.
brought on by a breakdown of something else, by the
Correct.
way.
There you go. It was
seems
another
to be
breakdown.
A little bit
Yep.
of a pattern emerging here.
But if I hadn't have walked in that door at that particular time and Jerry was walking out, who knows?
Yep.
So after my time, I was 10 years at Harvey's, and I just had enough of retail.
Yep.
And I needed to do something. I can't hammer a nail straight, so I had to sell something. It was either cars or houses.
Yep.
And I was actually just about to accept a job at Von Bibra selling cars, and I got a letter in the mail saying the place at Gibraltar Drive, I'd been there for 12 years,
Yep.
was finally getting taken over by the owner. We had to find a new place to live.
Yep.
So I was doing the open homes for rentals, and I walked into an open home, and a lady called Deborah, who I had sold a house full of electrical appliances, she was the lady who was doing the open home, and she said, "Oh, Mark, I went to Harvey's the other day and you weren't there." I said, No, I'm looking for something new.
Yep.
She said, "Why don't you do real estate?" So she rang up Mick Carter, who was her boss. Mick Carter now works for Coastal.
Yep.
And I went and saw him, and he gave me a job.
Right.
So that's quite literally how I ended up in real estate.
So your whole career has just been all full of just moments that have
Yes.
just
Yeah.
shaped where your
Correct.
next step.
I can't remember the last time I actually applied for a job.
Wow.
Things have just happened.
So was that with McGrath then? Have you always
No,
been
Mick,
with McGrath?
Mick was with the professionals. He owned the professional franchise in Broadbeach.
Right.
I went from there, went to another place. I actually went for a job at Coastal, and Dane Atherton said that, mate, I don't have enough time to train you. And at the time,
so
I thought...
that was Harcourt's
As
Coastal at the
Harcourt's,
time.
yep. And I thought at the time, mate, you don't need to train me. I'm the best ever.
Yep.
But he was spot on because
How
it takes...
hard could it be to
Correct,
sell? I've
can't
been
be that
selling
hard.
for a while. I'm just moving from
But
electrical appliances to houses.
Yes, and I thought it was going to be an easy transition.
Yep.
And someone told me once that it does take 10 years to get to know what you're doing, and it's spot on.
To really know.
Oh, look, and I'm still learning every day. Every day I learn. Every day I reevaluate how I'm doing stuff to make sure I'm doing it the right way. So you just never know it all, ever.
Right. So no good at Coastal. You end up at Professionals.
Professionals, I got offered a job by a franchise from Melbourne who was trying to set up here.
Yep.
And it's when I first moved into the Chirn Park Labrador area. It's because I had focused that as an area that I thought had huge capital growth potential. Mm-hmm. Only because it still had that bit of a stigma. Lock your door, Labrador, stab your door, all those sorts of things, right?
Love it.
But I just...
Can't have been too different from when you started out at Narang, though, could it?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. But it was just a spot I thought you can't get that close to the water anywhere else on the Gold Coast for those sort of dollars.
Prices.
So it had to go through huge growth. So that's why I targeted it. And Fletcher's was the name of the company from Melbourne, and they ended up not delivering. And McGrath had been headhunting me for a while, so it all fell into place, and I made the move 9 years ago now.
Okay, I was going to say how long you've been there now.
Yeah, 9 years at McGrath.
Never looked back.
No, really happy with McGrath.
Fantastic. How many people in the office there at Southport?
There's 6 or 7 in the rental department, and there's probably, I don't know, another 8 or 10 in sales in our office. So, and there's now
Quite
a new,
decent
just got a
size.
new Robina office. So there's 3 or 4 in Robina.
Yep.
So yes, we're growing.
Okay. What is it that you love most about real estate?
Well,
Apart from the money.
correct, because that is ultimately the driver, right?
Oh, look, it is for most people in their careers.
I do like the flexibility the industry gives you, but I think
having your
Australians.
weekends free.
I've always worked weekends, mate.
That's
You're in the
you'll get
pub
used to my
game
little,
and you're in retail. You're working 6 days, 7 days a week. It makes no difference, right?
Yep.
And every time someone says to me, "Oh, you're working really hard," I cast my mind back to when I was working in Sydney in the pub game, and you're cleaning up someone's vomit or blood at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is not hard.
Yep.
Like what we do is not hard.
No.
It really isn't. But Australians have got a fascination with real estate. Like in some ways, it's a little bit sick. I really do think that, because as soon as you tell someone what you do, they ask you straight away, "How's the market going?"
Yep.
Like, people just get trained. You know, "Oh, I've always wanted to be a real estate agent." Oh well, have a go. Like, what's stopping you?
Yep.
So I suppose what do I like about it? I like the money. I like the freedom. I do like, there's a couple of opportunities sometimes where I've really helped people make more money, which has helped them on their next stage. And I love that.
Yep.
So there's a couple of different
Where you
things
get a
I like about it.
deal and someone does really well.
One in particular, young couple were doing the trip around Australia thing, and they were banking on a 6-month trip, and we smashed it out of the park on the price. So it meant they could actually circumnavigate Australia, and they spent 18 months away.
Oh, fantastic.
All because we just absolutely killed it.
Absolutely killed it.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing I do like helping people with.
Fantastic. So, do you have a standard week? I mean, if I was to say, what does the Mark Saveall standard week sort of look like Monday through Sunday? Can you tell me what that looks like, or does it differ every week?
I've got a standard week in my head, which ultimately
the plan,
which ultimately changes because you're never in complete control of your diary. But we have an ideal week. We meet every Monday. We have a chat about our week and we plan it out. And you try and control that, but then things will pop up. People will call you out of the blue. You know, I got a phone call 2 days ago from another customer of mine, and she looking at selling her mother's place. That wasn't in our plan. So everything, you need to be flexible.
Yep.
And then if you've got some spare time, you need to know where you're going back to so you don't lose track of yourself.
Sure. People, as you sort of pointed out just a minute ago, people have a mindset around real estate agents, what you do, how you do it. What would surprise the average punter about something that you do in your week that they wouldn't expect?
How much people lie to us.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay. Explain that to me.
Well, when I was in the pub game, I thought I had seen the worst of people. But when you're talking about considerable life-changing amounts of money, people will do some of the worst things possible you've ever seen. And I'll give you an example.
I was going to ask.
I know. So there was one old bloke, Peter, who was in a 2-story townhouse.
Yep.
And his knees had buggered up on him and he couldn't handle the stairs anymore. He rang me, so, Mark, can you help me sell? I said, yep. He wanted to go into a little 1-bedroom villa. Happy days, Pete. So we sold the place for him, but for whatever reason, some time in the past, he had put the property in his 2 daughters' names.
Right.
And and by law, we have to separate the money in the name of the people who own it, and we got to put it in their bank accounts. And the whole idea was then the girls were going to give it back to him so he could buy his 1-bedroom villa. One of the girls didn't give him his money. So 175 grand, which he needed to buy the next step.
Yep.
And she worked at the fish markets at Piermont, and I rang her myself when he told me what was going on, and her exact words were, "It's my inheritance anyway. He's going to die soon. I need it now."
And you in the earlier stages of this, you'd heard the verbal agreements between them all, and you know it's a family. You're just expecting
family thing.
It's all going to go.
He said, "Yep, the girls will do it." He put a deposit on the 1-bedroom villa. God. He couldn't finish. Luckily, he got his money back, but to my knowledge, I think the guy is still renting.
Wow.
7 years later.
Wow.
But that's the sort of thing that people do when there's a lot of money. They just do horrible things.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. It's not something I don't really think about too much, that you guys, you know, with every transaction, it's for most people life-changing amounts of money.
Yeah, especially when the money we're talking about now and things, you know, we're selling 3-bedroom asbestos shacks for $1 million.
Yep.
Where 10 years ago they were $400,000. Like, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And people act accordingly.
All right.
So, yes, we get lied to a lot. There you go.
Wowee. All right. So, tell me about your selling style. What do without giving away secrets, what do you know about selling property that others don't?
I suppose I ask more questions than a lot of people.
Yep.
And I try and give very honest advice. Mm-hmm. And that's not always taken well, because some people, regardless of them asking your opinion, they want to hear what they have in the back of their head, where I don't do that. And I must admit I used to, until about 5 years ago. I used to tell them what they wanted to hear and try and be the person that they thought a real estate agent used to be. But I was tripping up all the time, and I wasn't having a great deal of success. I was muddling along. Mm-hmm. And then about 5 years ago, I went, fuck that. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be upfront, and I'm going to have no filters.
Yep.
And if that's if they resonate with that, then they're my people, and I'm going to love working with them.
Yep.
And if that doesn't suit them, then that's cool. Like, I'm okay with that.
It's probably best for both sides.
Correct. We just both walk away.
Love it.
And that, I think, is the number one thing that I pride myself on. I've actually said to many people, I'm like the coriander of real estate. You either love it or you hate it. And that's okay.
Yep. I do love coriander, by
There
the
you go.
way, just for anyone who might be interested in that. You, coriander?
No, I'm not a coriander guy, but that's okay.
Oh,
But,
okay.
you know, I've lost other listings. Lost a listing the, I don't know, maybe 12 months ago, and I rang them up because I always like to know why I didn't get the gig.
Yep.
And the bloke said, mate, my wife didn't gel with you. And I said, okay.
Fair enough.
No problem. Like, if you got any questions, you need a hand, help me, I'm here for you, you know?
You probably, I would imagine, like most agents in the early days, would take on every listing that you could possibly get and do everything to get every listing and had a whole set of dramas the whole way through and almost wished you hadn't.
Well, there's always some listings that you wish you didn't take, yes. Yep. But ultimately, if you ask the right questions and someone's genuine, and that's, again, all part of the feeling out process.
Sure.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yep. What does a great client experience mean to you?
A great client experience. Well, I'll give you an example. 7 Goss Avenue, which we just sold at auction a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Kiwi couple, Anna and Todd, really nice people.
Yep.
They sat down and said, what do we need to do, Mark? We spoke about presentation. We spoke about open homes, method of sale.
Yep.
We took everything on board. They took everything on board. They followed that. We gave them a marketing plan. It was followed. We did the right thing, and everything worked out right. And we sold it under the hammer for a really good price. And they can now move on. They're super happy. The people who are buying it are super happy. Like, that is just a perfect scenario. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way.
Yep.
But in that particular case, they took what we said on board. They could have actually turned around on the day and said, no, we want more. But they understood that we had done absolutely everything. We'd marketed it properly. Hundreds, thousands of people had seen the place.
Yep.
And they understood that we had done absolutely everything, and they couldn't expect a better result.
Perfect.
Yeah, it
that
was.
probably leans into my next question. Maybe you've already answered, but it was going to be, maybe a time you've gone the extra mile, done something that other agents wouldn't, that got a result where, in other circumstances that may not have happened.
Well, the most recent one that comes to mind is I was selling 12 Musgrave Avenue, which was a derelict, knocked down, ex-crack den.
Okay.
There you go, with a swimming pool out the back, and it was an absolute bomb site. And we weren't getting the traction and the number of people through the open homes as I had hoped. And the Friday before our auction, there was another auction about 400 metres away, another older house that the public trustees were selling. So I went to that particular auction, and there was 5 or 6 people there who were raising their hand that I had never seen at my open home. And we're literally only 400 metres apart, but mine was in Southport and theirs was in Labrador.
Right.
So some people, even though everyone says, I always check the internet, they don't always check the internet. So I stood outside that home and I handed out my business cards to the 5 other people who had missed out on that property, and one of those came to our auction on the Saturday and bought the house.
Wow.
So if I hadn't have gone to that auction on the Friday, they would have never seen us. They would never have turned
Even
out.
though you were that close. Yep.
And as it turned out, we've now sold them a second property, all because I went on that Friday and stood out with business cards. And I don't know any other agent that would do that. Or if it does, no one's told me about it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Love that story. What about a career highlight? Anything stand out to you in your 12-odd years?
No, I think that's still yet to come, to tell you the truth.
Yep.
Yeah, there's still things that I want to achieve. So
what's that? What do you want to achieve? What are your goals from here?
I want to have what they call an effective business unit. So I want to have myself and Ash, who's joined me 8 or 9 months ago, and 2 other people, and I want to be able to I want to own Labrador.
Okay.
At the moment, I've got a decent market share, and I think we're doing a pretty good job, but we can do better. And when we've got about a 35% to 30% market share of Labrador, then I'll be a happy man.
Okay, so tell me about Ash. You work as a team now?
Yes, Ash is from the property management section of McGrath.
Great.
come into sales. She's getting her head around that. She's started doing the admin at first, and she's going to progress into sales. And we're now, by the way, looking for someone to come and help us join in the admin side of things. So if you've got a bit of a marketing background and you might be a 9 to 3 school mum perhaps, or someone younger who wants to start, we're looking for our third person.
Okay, the contact details will be in the show notes for anyone listening.
Yep. 0403 788 757.
Get that down. Get that down. All right, fantastic. So I want to give you a quick fire, what I call my quick fire round now. Okay. So first, short, quick answers that first come to mind. One word to describe your negotiation style.
Staunch.
Words clients would use to describe you.
Honest. Pain in the ass. And I understand that, you know. Trustworthy, hardworking.
Excellent. Biggest myth about real estate agents?
That we go to the pub on a Friday afternoon and laugh it up all the time.
Right.
They used to, but I don't believe that happens anymore.
No, I always think the biggest one is that all you guys do is go and put up the for sale sign, sit back and wait, and
everyone thinks
collect
it's easy.
A big commission check.
Everyone thinks it's easy. Actually, a couple of blokes at the local bowling club I drink at, a couple have said to me, "Oh, it must be easy." So I've just given you my phone and said, "Go on,
you do it,
make money.
You do it."
And they look at me with a blank face. So there's a couple of misconceptions out there.
Sure. Weirdest thing you've seen at an open home?
A bunch full of dildos and ass plugs covered in oil that had soaked onto the carpet.
And it was there, out in the open. Please tell me these are renters, not the owners.
They were the owners.
Oh, God.
They were the owners. She was the owner.
Now, I do want to point out to our listeners, Mark obviously is the most honest one I've had on this podcast so far, because every other person who have asked that question, they've said, well, here's the one I can tell you.
Hey,
and they all wanted to say the one you just did.
I thought we were being honest.
Perfect. If your real estate career was a movie, what would it be called?
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I love it. All right, your number one top tip for homeowners when selling?
Do your homework. Before you pick a real estate agent, go to their open homes and see how they handle people, see if they ask the questions, see how the houses are presented, have a look at their marketing material. So many people get someone come in, listen to someone for 15 minutes and then sign their largest asset up to them. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
So do more than what...
Do your research, people. Do your due diligence. Like, it's nuts.
Fantastic. All right. So, final question. You can look straight down the barrel here, but look, if there is somebody listening, especially in that Labrador sort of area, and they're considering using you as their agent, what would you say to them?
At the very worst, get me in to have a chat. I might not be your guy, but I'll certainly give you right advice which will help you moving forward, regardless of who you choose.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, look, Mark Saveall from McGrath in Southport, thanks so much for joining me on the Elite Real Estate Agents of Southeast Queensland podcast. It's been a pleasure. I love your straightforward, no nonsense, honest style. I really do. And look, make sure you do, if you do want to connect with Mark, all of his details are there in our show notes, and the links will be on our socials and everything else. So, Mark, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, man. It's been fun. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Elite Real Estate Agents of SEQ. If today's guest sounded like the right agent to help with your next move, please reach out. You'll find all their details in the show notes and episode description. And if you're a real estate agent interested in being showcased on the podcast, visit www.podproaustralia.com.au to learn more and register your interest. If you enjoyed the podcast, we'd love it if you could like, share and rate the podcast, and let us know in the comments if there's an agent you've dealt with and you think they should be featured next. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.